Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today with a new series. This is pretty exciting stuff, guys. For those who don't know, one of my passions in life is actually podcasts. I'm a big podcast listener, and one of my favorite podcasts is the Tim Ferriss Show. And Tim, every so often, brings on an expert in any given field, and they just basically take all the viewers and listeners' questions and take the whole episode and just answer them in kind of a one-on-one intimate situation. So my idea is to bring that series to Clash Royale using top players, basically answering the questions that you guys provide on my Clash with Ash official Facebook group and my Clash with Ash Twitter. So what I've done here is basically handed the mic off to, in this case, Jake, aka TagUrPregnant, aka Tag, and he's just an amazingly articulate and skilled player, and he does a great job with it. This episode is littered with amazing advice and strategy tips, and even like more casual, just fun questions for the less serious gamer. He really covers it all. So guys, just a quick little side note, the intro, the quality in the audio was just too poor. I couldn't fix it up, so he kind of hops right into question one, but all you really miss is his introduction and his hello to you guys. So guys, let me know what you think of this series idea. Do you want to see more? If so, who do you want to hear for about half an hour, 45 minutes in the next episode? So guys, without further ado, I welcome Jake.
So the first question comes from Sander CR, and he says, what is better, lightning or poison before the nerf? So I would definitely say that poison before the nerf was better in most situations compared to lightning currently. Currently, you're going to see lightning played in most of the archetypes that involve a tank. And before the nerf, poison was able to be used in a myriad of different types of decks. Like, you would see it in Hog Rider decks, you would see it in Minor Control, you would see it in P.E.K.K.A. Double Prince, and you'd even see it in my old Three Musketeer deck. So you would literally see poison in every single deck. So without a doubt, poison is better than what lightning is currently, even though lightning is extremely strong now. You just don't see it in Hog Rider decks or anything as common. Right now, Paul Richard says, what is your opinion on the most underrated card? So without a doubt, I would have to go with the Barbarian Hut. The Barbarian Hut just has a ridiculous amount of health, and there's some new decks circulating now with Hog Rider and Three Musketeers that allow it to just destroy any tank deck. So I just wouldn't even play Lightning Golem anymore, because even though it was one of my favorite challenge decks, because they could literally just drop Three Musketeers in one lane in combination with their Barb Hut. So if you tried to lightning the Musketeers, you're going to hit the Barb Hut, the tower, and then one Musketeer. And then those two Musketeers are just going to go ham on your Lava Hound or Golem or Giant, anything that you have there. Fireball is now seeing a lot more play with tank decks, because Barb Hut Three Musketeer deck is literally insane. On to the next one. Alright, so Alf 4Core says, have you ever faced the same deck over and over again in Grand Challenge? Yeah, I mean, it does seem like that. There's a lot of people just running Giant and Lava Hound, and Golem. That's pretty much what I see every single time. I'd like to see like more creativity out of a lot of people, but it's whatever. I mean, you get what you get. It's good to play against the strongest archetypes, and you're going to get more practice against it, so it helps you out in the long run. Alright, so the next one is from Lux. He says, what inspired your name? Also your daddy. Lux, thanks for that. And my friends came up with a joke, TagUrPregnant, and it's it's kind of been with us forever. So I just thought of naming myself it in this game. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing. It wasn't really premeditated at all. It was just kind of happened. So the next one is from JTech44. What's the best strategy when going against higher levels? I always seem to be playing level 11s and level 12s. Yeah, so it's always going to seem pretty bad when you're matching up a level 12 or level 11. They give you a good game or a thumbs up at the start. But you can definitely overcome it by you can't really like be that aggressive. You honestly have to play defensive pretty hard. Make sure that you're converting your defensive units like Mini P.E.K.K.A, Mega Minion, and just anything that you defend with into offense. You don't really want to be the aggressor. I would honestly be cycling cards in the back and not really playing too aggressively until finding out what they have, their card order, and then you can actually make positive elixir trades and just decisions that will get you ahead in the game. All right. The next one is from Inferno Clash from Cloud Gaming. Awesome. So he says, how do you feel about Lava Hound, Balloon, and Graveyard decks? So individually, I'll answer that. Lava Hound decks seem really strong right now. You saw in Coronation, they're appearing everywhere. I think Balloon decks just aren't that great right now. I don't actually think they're even close to viable. There's just Mega Minion and Ice Spirit everywhere, and Mega Minion kind of destroys the Balloon without it letting it get to the tower, so I just wouldn't even bother with Balloon archetype. And then finally, Graveyard decks. Yeah, Graveyard's kind of ridiculous right now. It although a lot of people don't have it, when it gets on tower, it's really a force to be reckoned with, especially when the opponent is actually equipped with a decent Graveyard deck. By that I mean when they have Fireball to answer 3 Elixir minions, which are a great counter to Graveyard, or... The next question is from Pompeo. He says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love tacos? So, dude, I'd have to say over 9,000. I'm sorry, I had to break the scale. It had to be done. Sometimes even, and the next question is from Lenny, and you'll be seeing what makes the game so enjoyable for you. So it's definitely the community. I really like being a part of the community that I'm in with all my friends on Discord and just the clan I've been in, Takeover. Really great players and a lot of friends that I've been in touch with and line. Still great friends with everyone in Cloud Gaming. It's just, I love the community, and that's what's really helped me just make the game a lot more enjoyable when there's people to talk to and just people to that are fun to be around in the game. If the community's not fun, it's not really a good game, in my opinion. And yeah, for sure. Also, I've been getting close to max, and playing on max ladder is a lot more fun than having that level 9 mini P.E.K.K.A, and that guy just drops a Royal Giant that's level 13, and his level 13 minions just kind of devour your mini P.E.K.K.A. That's kind of depressing. I don't have to feel that pain anymore. So the next question is from Scott Falconer. When is the right time to place an expensive card such as the Golem? So there's definitely a few ways to approach this, but you can actually play your Golem at the start, but you never want to play it as your first card. You would never want to actually play a Lava Hound or a Golem as your first card, because the main problem with that is I don't like losing to Expo, honestly, at all. And if they drop an Expo down at the start and you drop your Golem behind your tower at the start, you're just going to lose the tower straight up. So if I was playing, when I was playing Golem, which I played a lot for challenges, I would always cycle archers in the back, or I would play Ice Golem first. And then if they didn't drop Expo, I would be free to drop my Golem at the start. But typically you don't really want to expect too much out of your expensive cards like Golem or Lava Hound or anything like that. You're not going to really break through an Inferno Tower until double Elixir in this meta, because you're not going to have enough Elixir to Lightning their Inferno Tower and get through and do damage. Golem decks really shine when double Elixir. You're able to afford a Baby Dragon behind the Golem, and you're able to Lightning the Inferno Tower, and it's pretty lit then. You're able to get some serious damage. Alright, so next question is from Christopher Peters. How do you stay calm before battle and after battle? Was it ever an issue? Just more playing without not stressing? Yeah, so I was obviously like really freaking out when I was playing CRL first, my first time. I remember playing against Nova my first time. And it just like having 1,000 people watch you live, it's that kind of, after starting to play for CRL over and over again and starting to play in 15K tournaments, when the stakes are big, 1 hour 15K tournaments, if you lost a game, you weren't going to get top 20. It was just kind of ridiculous, and that's a huge card difference then. Just playing a lot of those tournaments and CRL really helped me just not stress out. I just treat every game the same. I've played the game so much that I kind of trust myself, and if I lose, I mean, the guy obviously played better than me, or it's just, there's nothing I could do in that situation then. And yeah, I just don't stress anymore as long as I play the best I can. All right, next question from Waterbottle121. How do you get 12 wins every time? Tell us your secrets. Haha. All right, so believe it or not, I am not able to get 12 wins every time. I'm able to get it most of the time, definitely. I would say like 80 or 90% of the time, but there are times that you just don't get 12 wins. I've actually gotten like a solid 3 wins before, 2 wins. I can match up against friends and just honestly just lose. The thing is, just don't get discouraged. It's like anything. If you're just going to be playing challenges and you don't get 12 wins, and you just don't want to keep playing anymore, you're never going to get better at it. And yeah, it's kind of a problem. But basically, to get 12 wins every single time, or try to get it as much as you can, I would try to practice one archetype or one deck, and you start playing that deck a lot in challenges, and you're going to understand what to cycle in the back, what are your normal responses to certain things, how you can play a deck specifically. Like, some decks you can cycle Princess in the back, some decks you rely for it on ship damaging the tower automatically. Like, that's going to be your main ship damage. You can't cycle it in the back. You can't use it as a map control thing. So, like, each deck definitely operates differently, and if you play a deck that a whole bunch of top players are using, you're going to understand how that deck functions, watch people that are really good play, and yeah, challenges will get a lot easier for you, man. All right, the next question is from Haseb Light. Does he take time doing battle, challenge, and tournaments? If he did, how much? Or is it just one battle after another? Yeah, so typically challenges, they don't really faze me anymore. I just go through them. Yeah, I'll finish a round of challenges in 30 minutes, and I'll typically just do one challenge at a time. I don't really like sitting down and deciding to do like 3 or 4 challenges in a row or anything like that. I typically don't have the time to either. I'll just do them throughout different times of the day. And I kind of set a rule to myself that I'm going to do 3 challenges or 4 challenges a day until I get maxed out, because that's the ultimate goal. Got to get maxed out. Got to get on the leaderboards. All right, next question from Sir Evergreen. What is your preferred deck archetype for tournaments? So right now it's definitely the Hog Rider deck. And I just think that's, with 2.8 Elixir, I can't really get screwed by bad starting hands. And that's really important for me. I just don't like losing to card order. If I get a bad starting hand, I can just cycle out of it and be fine. And that's typically why I use Hog Riders or low Elixir card decks, because I think they allow the better player to win the majority of the time if you're able to, because you're able to just always bounce back from bad card orders. All right, next question from Joseph Brandon. Do you create your own decks, or do you just go with the meta? If you create your own decks, how do you decide? So I create my own decks, and I also use other people's decks, but the majority of the time I'll take a deck and I'll modify it. I don't actually like, if the deck doesn't need any modifying, I'll just play it, but I'm a big fan of like using whatever decks suit me the best, and I just like using low elixir cost decks because yeah, I just don't like losing to card order. I typically don't like using decks above 3.5 elixir for that reason. And creating my own decks, I always make sure that each deck, I go through things and I test decks with all my friends, and I make sure that It just doesn't lose at certain things. For example, if the deck doesn't have 3 elixir minions, if it doesn't have archers, or it doesn't have guards, you're probably going to have a lot of trouble against graveyard. And I just don't like running decks that automatically lose to something. So I wouldn't run that deck. Or I would try to modify it to allow me to actually handle graveyard. And you can go through that, a lot of checkpoints in all your decks. And that's what I like doing. And people like Ahsoka definitely help me create decks and modify them. Alright, so the next question from Master Chief says, how to remember your opponent's cycle so that you can predict spells and also make better plays. So that definitely comes with a lot of practice, and it's more intuitive now than ever because I force myself to do that. I force myself to remember the card order of my opponent, and it's going to help you a lot. For example, if you're playing a Zap Bait deck and you're running Goblin Barrel, right? You definitely want to make sure you know how far away the dude is from Zap or Log or whatever his answer is to your Goblin Barrel. Because once you outcycle him, you want to immediately throw down that Goblin Barrel again and hurt him. Next question comes from Luigi Clash Royale. How seriously do you take your battles? Ladder play and tournament play. So tournament play like CRL and CRNAO, RPL, I take those extremely seriously. I actually practice a lot before the matches. I have decks prepared. And yeah, it's I get pretty pissed when I lose. I don't like losing in those. Yeah, it's ladder, it's whatever. I don't care. You have music on, do whatever. Challenges, just grind them all the time. Losses don't matter at all. But I just don't like the idea of letting my team down or anything like that. I just don't like losing in CRL at all. Feels bad, man. All right. Next question by Angus701. What are some tips that you can give me as a hog user? When is the right time to place a hog? So some things that I would definitely do with a hog rider at the start. You don't really want to be overcommitting too much. I would never drop Mega Minion with a hog rider or anything like that. You definitely want to be, if you're dropping a hog rider at the start, it would just be with an Ice Golem or an Ice Spirit. But other than that, you typically want to be defending with a Mega Minion or Ice Golem or whatever cards that you have in cycle that effectively counter what they're dropping. And then dropping a hog rider right in front of those units or behind them if it's an Ice Golem. And you're able to utilize those cards and make them do work on offense with the hog rider. And that helps a lot. Another time to place the hog rider is when they drop a huge tank like a Golem or a Lava Hound or anything, and you push the other lane immediately. Even if you have more tower damage on the side that they drop the Lava Hound or tank on, sometimes it's a great idea to just divert their attention to the other lane so they're not able to drop like a Mega Minion to defend your hog rider and then have it just go behind their Golem and make their push like really hard to defend. Because if the Mega Minion goes on the other side, you can just chill and like sometimes even ignore it. But if it goes behind the Golem, it's going to be a bad time. All right, next question. So from Brooklyn Santos, how do you count your opponent's elixir? So that's a great question. It actually takes a lot of time to get used to this, at least for me. Maybe you guys will have more luck, but I wasn't the best at it until I started doing it every single match, and I made myself do it. And it helps a lot because now I'm able to figure out, oh, my dude just doesn't have enough elixir for an Inferno. Dropping a hog rider for elixir, I'm good. So what I do is you calculate the trades that you have. Say I drop a log and I kill their princess, therefore I'm up an elixir. If I'm up 1 elixir and I'm at 7 elixir, then you know that they must be at 6 elixir. And you keep track of those trades, and you always correspond your elixir to theirs with those trades. You never like try to count it from just using their elixir. It's not going to work that way. You have to be brilliant to do that. All right. The next question What is your favorite deck of all time? Yeah, so that is easily my minor poison log deck from last meta with Pump. I didn't really lose with that very often at all. It was probably the best deck I've ever created. All the top players started using it. Surgical Goblin was really good with it. It was like literally it was the most fun deck to play. I didn't have any issues with it. I loved playing against Giant with it. That was my favorite meta and favorite deck for sure. All right, the next question. What are your thoughts on Airfecta from Procrastinator? Yeah, so Airfecta is definitely strong. It's not my style of play. It's pretty high elixir. It's risky. But if you get the Inferno Dragon Mega Minion behind the Lava Hound, pretty scary, man. Pretty scary, man. You can't really... Lightning doesn't kill the Inferno Dragon, so feels bad when that happens, when the Inferno Dragon locks on your tower and you don't have anything to defend it. Airfecta is very strong. It won a Coronation. Odyssey used it. I would definitely recommend it if you want to learn it. It's just not my favorite type of play. Next question. Al4 Core. In a grand challenge, do you always finish it right away or take breaks? Yeah, I take breaks. I play one a day, or I play one at a time, and then I typically play 3 or 4 a day. Yeah, and I make myself play 3 or 4 a day. Next question. Squeakbot, aka Chicken Bob, says, Jake, McDonald's or Burger King? So, man, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm not really about that life. I have to stay loyal to Pompeo and tacos. That's where it's at, man. Next question from Stormclouds. As a top challenge player, what is one of the hardest obstacles to overcome for great success? That's easy. Without a doubt, it's getting discouraged when you lose a game early on in challenge and you just want to let it sit there. That's what happened to me when I started playing challenges. I would get triggered when I lost a game. It really doesn't matter at all. It's all practice. Those games don't matter at all. No one's like, it's not getting broadcasted or anything. And it's, if anything, if you have a loss, you should be thankful for it because you're able to look at the replay, look at where you messed up. If you dropped a golem behind as your first card and the dude drops Expo, you learned that mistake. You don't drop a golem in the back anymore. You cycle archers in the back, or you cycle ice golem in the back. Stuff like that you're just able to look at your mistakes, don't get discouraged, and just keep going through those challenges. Even like yesterday, I was 2-2, and then I went 12-2 and was kind of in shock, but I just kept going for it with the Graveyard Spear Goblin deck. It's really awesome. All right, next question from Topus. How do you get out of really bad cycles, especially when your opponent waits or plays too slowly with your Hog Cycle deck? All right, so that's definitely pretty hard. So playing that Hog Cycle deck when the dude drops like a Golem or something in the back and you don't really have a Hog Rider, you have like a really bad cycle, you kind of have to play the game really slowly. You have to kind of accept that you're going to take damage if they drop Lava Hound and you're not able to like make them force them to like respond to a Hog Rider in the other lane, and they're able to drop a Mega Minion behind their tank. You're pretty much going to take like 1,000 damage, but you just want to split cards in the back. I would split archers in the back. I would drop my Tombstone. I would definitely try to cycle cards. I wouldn't really like stress too much about it. And I wouldn't get mad if you lose those games because there's nothing you can really do. But definitely don't freak out and try to cycle to your Hog Rider if it's your last card. If you try to drop all your cards at once and drop like 10 Elixir at once, that's a really bad decision. Try to defend as effectively as possible and try to get to the cards that you need and get your cards in order to properly align with their card cycle to counter their cards, and you're going to be fine. You just don't want to rush it and drop 10 Elixir and freak out if your cards are out of order to get to the card that you need. You got to improvise and figure out a way to do it, even if it's not cost effective. All right, next question. How often do you talk to people in real life about Clash Royale from All Crap? Yeah, man, so obviously whenever I see a girl, I go up to her and tell her I have 200k challenge cards in Clash Royale, and there's just like no other way to approach them. But but honestly, it's, I don't really talk to that many people in real life about Clash Royale. My close friends know that I play the game. I talk to them about it, but it's like, it's not something I bring up a lot. My brother plays the game a lot. It's brought him and I a lot closer. Talk a lot about it. He loves the game. He's always asking me for new decks. But yeah, I just don't talk to that many people in college about it. It's not that big here, unfortunately. So 100T Matthew. He asks, cannon or gravestone for hog golem defense? I think you meant tombstone, but yeah, definitely tombstone, because they accrue more skeletons over time, which will do more DPS. It just seems like a lot better. I've experimented with both. I've had a lot more success with tombstone. Love the card. It's actually, even the skeletons on offense, when it dies and you just drop a hog rider, it seems it's actually pretty sick. Sometimes there's a lot more improvisation that you can use with the tombstone. You're able to do a lot more. I just feel like a lot more value. Actually does well against graveyard if the dude doesn't really like have a tank. If he's running like bowler graveyard, you put your tombstone behind your tower. It actually does pretty well against tombstone, or it does pretty well against graveyard, unlike the cannon. Cannon's useless in that situation. All right, next question. Can you give me tips on how to upgrade cards faster for free-to-play players? Also, general tips for free-to-play players from Valabahav. So, yeah, I'm definitely not a free-to-play player, but I was. And the way I would go about it is trying to upgrade one deck specifically. You want to focus on getting your commons and rares, one specific deck or archetype, at least as high as possible, whether that be Royal Giant or Hog Rider. I would specifically recommend one of those, or Mortar. One of those win conditions that you can level up, keep requesting it, and don't stray away from it. You learn that deck and save all your gems for classic challenges and just keep grinding out those, or grand challenges. Don't waste it on, never waste it on the gem cycle if you're free to play. I definitely don't advise that. And you'll be climbing up the ladder pretty fast if you just focus on upgrading one win condition and not all of them at once. That should help you a lot. And just upgrade and just try to do challenges whenever you have the gold for it. Helps a lot. Or gems for it. Helps a lot. Alright. What is the best way to use an Ice Golem and an Archer? I already answered that. Alright, next question. Periel Alexandris. Which, according to you, are the most OP cards in the game right now? Top 2 or 3, maybe more. Explain also. So I definitely think overpowered does not correspond to overused. That is kind of mixed up. I don't really think Giant is that strong right now. A lot of people don't actually have Graveyard, and I think that's one of the strongest cards in the game. The fact that it can take the tower with just the support of a fireballing archers, or just whatever, or 3 elixir minions, or whatever your counter is. It's pretty much guaranteed damage in double elixir that just can't be ignored. It's ridiculous, honestly. I think it's going to be one of the best cards in the game pretty soon when more people get it. It's really good. The next card is definitely Lightning. It's used in a lot of the tank decks. It's this fact that it basically kills an Inferno tower from full. It just makes tank decks really great now. And yeah, I think it's definitely one of the best cards in the game right now. Definitely restricts deck construction a lot. You can't really use Ice Wizard or any of those cards because you have to implement Mega Minion in all your decks, and you just don't want to get the other, or you don't want to allow the other people to have value lightnings hitting an Ice Wizard, a tower, and a Mega Minion. And lastly, like, you already know the last card is going to be Mega Minion. It's used in every single deck. The card is probably going to get a nerf soon. It's 3 elixir, and it's basically a flying mini P.E.K.K.A. I love the card, but probably going to get a nerf soon. What is my trigger card? Oh, yeah, so I don't really like seeing Barbarian Hut. It definitely triggers me. If you play me in a Grand Challenge and I'm angry facing when you have a Barbarian Hut, that's probably why. It's not really fun playing against that with a Hog Rider deck, but you can make it work. Just takes a lot of time and knowing the card order and punishing them when they're on low elixir. It's definitely the hardest matchup for me, and that's why it triggers me most of the time. All right. So one of the last questions is from Eric Kilo. Has being a part of TakeOver helped you become a better player? What is the importance of being in a top clan? So TakeOver has definitely helped me become a better player. There's a lot of great people in there, like Godly Love, CMC, they're really good players. I mean, I've always played against them in 15Ks, and it's nice to be able to practice with people like that whenever I want. It's a good environment to be in for me, and it definitely helped me grow as a player. But yeah, I don't really think like being in a top clan is the most important thing for developing as a player. It's more so like being in a group of friends that you can discuss strategies and like keep you entertained in the game. The more you play, the more you're going to get better. And if you're in a clan that you like with good players that want to improve and actually want to like talk strategy and how you can improve your decks, like if you have any issues with a certain matchup and they're able to help you, that's like the most important thing about it being in a clan. And yeah, that's definitely what helped me get a lot better, for sure, in Clout and in TakeOver. All right, so the next question. Do you think different clans and clanmates' opinions are different, and do they see the game in different perspectives? From Manly CR. Yeah, man, everyone sees the game a lot differently than other people. People have different tendencies. You see Woody, he loves the mortar and siege decks. I typically love low elixir cost decks like Miner, Hog. I did play Golem because it was really strong, but I typically gravitate towards the lower elixir card decks, and I'll have a much different perspective on the game than someone that really likes dropping a Lava Hound in the back, like Hazard or Golem, or like the Killer Whale, or any of those players that just everyone plays the game differently. It's nice to be able to talk to them on Discord, and definitely being on the Discord that I'm in with top players and good friends like Ahsopa that are always there to bounce ideas off of. Hazard, that's really great with Lava Hound and Giant. Boom, that's the Expo and Siege King, has helped me a lot. It's kind of a pain losing to the Siege decks, but I dealt with it. And there's a whole bunch of other top players in the Discord that have been able to help me, like Lucifer, who won a Coronation, Mike G, Cam, and of course the Killer Whale. All those guys are great people. They help me out with different decks, how to improve different decks. Whenever I was having a struggle with Graveyard or anything else, they were able to help me improvise and just create solutions within my decks, so then I would improve my chances of winning. You're not going to win every single game in Clash Royale, but you should definitely be able to improve your chances. And that's about it. I just want to thank everyone for listening, and I'm really glad that I was able to be on another episode with Clash with Ash. And thanks, guys. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter is Mr. Sir TagUrPregnant. Just hit me up with any other questions if I didn't get to them. And see you guys around. Clash on.
All right, and thank you so much, Tag, for doing that. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this new Ask a Pro format. Let me know what you thought about the whole, general series idea going forward. Do you want to see more? If so, who would you like to see in the next segment? So, guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, Take care, guys.